Alright, welcome back everyone. We're here today watching Inspiration 4 launch with SpaceX. It's the first time ever in the history of humanity that 4 non-astronauts are flying in space at the same time with no actual astronauts. As a future astronaut hopeful, I'm not sure how I feel about that with my job prospects. But it is pretty cool in all seriousness. This is a huge mission. I wish them the best of luck. I didn't have the time to follow up on everything about all the crew members, but if you want to catch that, you can watch the SpaceX stream in its entirety. I'm just here to provide some insight into the engineering process, to do some reacting along with the rest of you as a fan of space travel. And a future hopeful spacefarer myself. So let's get into it here. We're at T-minus 1 minute and 50 seconds.
Stage 2 locks load complete.
And there's the call that stage 2 locks load is complete.
Is an auto idle.
So they just finished loading the second stage of the propellant. LOX is the last thing they load because it boils. LOX is really cold and it takes a lot of energy to keep it cold, so they load that last. And that's what they do with T-minus 2 minutes roughly.
As we vent off various lines on the launch pad, we'll hear some loud noises. Let the crew know that's planned. We're also right now draining the liquid oxygen out of the transporter erector, draining the lines, getting ready for launch.
Those spacesuits are so cool.
For the startup call at T-minus 1 minute.
It's like everything I want Space Force to do with their uniforms. Just go full sci-fi, please. Not exactly sure why they're applauding, but I guess it's in startup, so they're close.
You can hear the cheers. We're inside 1 minute.
Alright, let's get her done, guys.
Inspiration 4 is go for launch. Punch it, SpaceX.
Nice, dude. I dig it.
30 seconds.
Punch it,
I dig it.
SpaceX.
Let's light this candle. I know, pause it right before launch, but the like engineer, fluid mechanics nerd in me is just nerding out with how like this exhaust is staying in this nice like laminar tube. You can tell it's rotating. Sorry, I'll try not to nerd out too much because this is more about the monumental event, but I won't pause it anymore until it's important.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
Let's get her done.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Come on, baby, let's go. Let's go! Night launches are the best!
Copy, 1 Alpha.
Sick.
Switching downrange.
Where'd it go? Oh yeah.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Oh, that's cool. Man.
T-plus 30 seconds. Call-outs indicate nominal. Historic mission flying the Inspiration 4.
Let's go, baby.
Onboard Dragon and Falcon 9.
Oh, the one lady's yelling. I would too, to be honest, if I wasn't on like a mission.
Into the throttle bucket.
Stage 1 throttle down.
Yeah, so they throttle down
For the period of maximum
to keep
dynamic
the
pressure.
G's down for the manned flights. They don't do it on their satellites, but on the SpaceX manned launches, they actually fly, I believe, a shallower trajectory, it's called. So they don't go like normally you want to just get straight up as fast as you can to escape the the thick atmosphere, so you don't have as much drag losses. But going as fast as you can is a lot of acceleration and hence a lot of G-force. In the human body, especially those who aren't trained fighter pilots, with all that years of experience along with the G-suits and the training, aren't really able to take much more than 3 Gs. And so they fly it instead of going straight up and then over. They kind of fly more like that and then kind of curve it over, I believe. I don't know their exact trajectory, and I'm not a guidance, navigation, and control person. I'm a propulsion guy, but that's what they mean by the throttle down, the shallower trajectory.
Minute in the flight.
It's supersonic.
Supersonic, come on, baby. Punch through that max Q.
Stage 1, throttle up.
We're through the period
Sick.
of maximum dynamic pressure.
Copy,
We've
1
throttled
Bravo.
back up, and 1 Bravo, the call out from space. That's one of the abort sequences. That is a nominal call. Everything continues to be good.
That's good. The one lady, I'm pretty sure, is still yelling.
For the crew.
Either that or she's just smiling. They're feeling it right now, though. So pausing it again, because I can. You see how the exhaust is expanding out? It looks like it's larger. That's not because the engines are thrusting more or generating more exhaust. It's actually because the air is thinner. And the nozzles are designed for sea level pressure, because that's where you need the most thrust. Because you just need to, well, they're not necessarily designed for sea level pressure. Anyways, you need a lot of thrust at takeoff to just get the thing up, get it moving. But as you go, so I've talked in one of my other videos about how nozzles expand the air and they increases the velocity and they expand it out to a designed pressure. But as you go up, the pressure is lower, and so while they're actually lowering the pressure, the nozzles lower pressure. But as you get up, the atmosphere is thinner, and so the exhaust has more energy, so it expands out farther until it reaches the pressure naturally. But you don't get any energy out of that from the rocket's perspective because it's not within the nozzle. Anyways, that's a long, convoluted way of explaining this pretty picture you have here with these wide exhaust plumes. You can also see multiple Mach diamonds here, or Mach shock waves, basically.
MVAC E is chilling. We're beginning to get the turbo pump ready on the second stage engine for ignition.
Let's go, baby.
Through 3 G's acceleration, everything continues to look nominal.
That is a pretty launch. Night launches are the best. They're halfway to space.
Merlin engines are throttling down for G limiting.
That's the Earth's horizon
We're
right
holding
there.
it there for the crew. Major event coming up will be main engine cutoff, followed by stage separation, looking at the second stage engine nozzle, and then ignition of the second stage.
Ooh.
And Miko.
Nice.
Stage separation confirmed.
Nice, nice. Feeling a little bit of weightlessness there. Good job, guys. Good job. So that glow with that engine's totally normal, actually. Rockets are designed so close, like the tolerances and everything. They're literally like eking every last ounce of energy out, and they don't want to have any extra. And they actually cool it by just radiating the heat away. There's not actually coolant channels in here. Those streaks, I believe, is like film cooling, so they take some of like their turbo pump exhaust and they channel it back into the engine. And that, believe it or not, the exhaust from the turbo pump. If you don't know what a turbo pump is, please let me know in the comments and I will explain. that exhaust is actually it's hot gas. It's actually cooler than the rocket exhaust, and so they use that to kind of create a barrier of cooler gas between the walls. But that glowing is actually totally normal for this kind of a thing. It's a special alloy that can take really high temperatures, and those walls are actually like really thin. They're probably like that thick. They're pretty thin because the pressure is pretty low out there. But yeah.
As Kate mentioned, left-hand side is a view from the top of our first stage looking down. That has already separated from the second stage, and it's making its way back to Earth. The velocity of the first stage
SpaceX trajectory nominal
is being tracked on the bottom left-hand
That's
side.
cool. They got both.
On the right-hand side of the screen,
They're both in space right now. They're also both higher than the other commercial launches. In the case of the capsule, they're double what Virgin got to.
The second stage, everything looks to be going.
You can see the horizon of the Earth in the background there.
With them, and
Right there.
you can also track the velocity on the second stage on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. And we also have awesome views of the crew inside of the capsule as well.
I'm pretty sure during first stage ascent, I saw Dr. Cyan Proctor.
nominal.
I'm pretty sure I saw Dr. Cyan Proctor give us 2 thumbs up. I'm sure she enjoyed this ride that she's been waiting for her entire life.
One notable thing too is we're getting some twilight views. The sun just
Yeah, they have some. It's a charity event for St. Jude's Children's Hospital, I think, and so they actually have a doctor, as well as I think she is also a childhood cancer survivor, if I'm not mistaken. So that's pretty dang cool. Yeah, there she is waving. I think that's her.
Also notice we're really up there now, well past 100 kilometers.
Acquisition signal, New Hampshire.
Just before that view switched, we saw some teammate fist bumps going on there inside of the cabin.
Look at all that that ice coming off the booster. That's pretty cool.
And their journey isn't over. We've got
It's just floating
about 7
around.
more minutes until
Isn't that
Dragon
cool?
separates from the second stage.
On the left there.
Yes, next milestone for this mission is actually going to be happening on the first stage. It's going to be performing a re-entry burn that's going to be coming up around the T+7 minute and 30-second mark. That burn is used to slow down the first stage before it re-enters the denser parts of the atmosphere. A few minutes later, it'll execute a landing burn and make an attempt to land on our drone ship that's currently...
Looks like we're venting something right there. Do you see that?
SpaceX
That's kind of interesting. I'm not sure what that is.
Dragon copies.
So far.
Sorry.
I'm just going to say so far.
Yeah, I see that right.
everything's been
Ah,
great
that's
inspiration
yeah, right
for the
there.
crew.
That's interesting.
Everything
If anyone knows what that is, let me
phenomenal
know.
there with the second stage,
I'm not
which is
quite
what you
sure
see on the right-hand
if
side.
that's. I mean, sure, it's not a problem because they would be
I was just
they'd be
gonna say that
talking about
impact
it, but
engine,
I'm not quite
we
sure what
just
that
heard
venting is.
now is looking nominal.
Yeah, a piece of ice just fell off of it. Unless that's just
About a
roll
minute left to
control.
go before the first stage performs
But it shouldn't be
its,
constant.
first burn.
It would be rotating. There should be another one pointed the other way.
And on your left-hand side, looking at the first stage, you may see those white puffs. Those are the nitrogen puffs helping to steer and guide the vehicle. Basically
SpaceX trajectory nominal.
is the attitude control
Dragon copies.
for the vehicle as it makes its way back down to Earth.
There's the crew on the right-hand side of your screen. I think I see some more thumbs up there. Dr. Proctor is clearly excited that she's finally in space. Again, this mission will be orbiting Earth for 3 days, and they will be at an altitude of 575
Man, that's
kilometers.
bright.
Which, if I remember correctly, John you said that is the distance from Los Angeles to the Golden Gate Bridge.
There you go. They're going to get there a lot faster. Right now,
Entry burn. It still blows my mind that they land boosters. Like, that shouldn't strike people as a normal thing. Like, it's so hard, and it's like so important to do it, to reuse, but it's like,
again, this
You know, like,
first stage has already
up until
separated
SpaceX
from
did it, the only time you
second
landed
stage. So the first
boosters
stage
was in
is,
comics,
making its way back to Earth, trying
you
to
know,
land.
from like
And
the
second
50s and
stage, everything is
60s.
going well. It is headed into orbit with the crew on board.
Actually, there on your screen, you can see a sunrise horizon there with planet Earth just
so
behind
cool.
the glowing MVAC engine.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
All out stage 2 and terminal guidance.
Ooh.
We're at the altitude. We're working the angular momentum we need to get into the right orbit. And if you're wondering, crew's pulling about 3.5 Gs right now, less than it took on the first stage flight.
So in about 15 seconds, we are expecting
Copy Shannon.
We're
Throttle
expecting
down.
the MVAC to throttle down and cut off an event called second engine cutoff, and then we'll wait for the confirmation of good orbit. At the same time, the first stage will be
A lot about to happen here. Oh.
And here we have the
Okay.
MVAC.
We're gonna go back. Watch on shutdown. Watch the edge of this thing oscillate. You can see it like oscillating, and that's because of it's designed for a constant pressure across the walls. But on shutdown's not what we call in the business a steady process, which is a fancy way of saying like steady means like there's constant flow, and unsteady is like turbulent. So unsteady, think of like any time that you've been trying to pass a semi-truck on the highway and you've run into all these buffeting winds. That's turbulent and very unsteady flow, and that's what's going on in the engine for the few seconds here on shutdown. And because it's like so hot, the metal is so malleable that it actually like oscillates. Watch this, it's so cool.
Throttle down.
The MVAC to throttle down and cut off an event called second engine cutoff, and then we'll wait for the confirmation of good orbit. At the same time, the first stage will be beginning its landing burn.
Oh,
Here we have the MVAC.
so cool. We'll do it one more time because I'm a nerd and I like this.
And then we'll wait for the confirmation of good orbit. At the same time, the first stage will be beginning its landing burn.
So
And here we
cool.
have the MVAC.
All right, let's watch it land.
Shut off its engine.
Stage 1, landing burn start.
All right, let's go. Bring her home.
Dragon SpaceX, nominal orbit insertion.
0 G.
All right, good news there. Nominal orbit insertion. That's amazing news for Inspiration 4 crew.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, come on. Oh, it looks like they nailed it.
A few have come before, and many are about to follow. The door's opening now, and it's pretty incredible.
Let's go. Way to go, SpaceX. You did it again. Let's go, America. Leading the way in science and in just everyday people.
The Dragon capsule and crew are in a nominal orbit.
Let's
In a few
go.
minutes here, we'll begin opening that. In a few minutes here, we'll separate from the second stage, and then shortly after that, we'll begin opening that nose cone. At the same time, we landed our first stage on the drone ship,
As if-
which is super exciting.
And the second stage action wasn't exciting enough.
Well, we're gonna pause it there and wrap it up. Man, yeah, we just witnessed history today. This is the first of many. It's a really big deal. I know, like, it's just another Falcon launch, and like, it's just a bunch of like billionaires and millionaires, you know, which is true, but that's totally fine. And like, the honest truth is that, like, you know, you don't have to fork over, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars anymore to go fly. Like, you know, it's gonna get there, especially as we get more things like the Starship, where it's just very, very reusable. The cost is going to come way down, and regular everyday people are going to be able to start to go to space if they want to, and that's a really, really big deal. And it's the first time that it's ever happened in human history. And I know, like, we've heard it in the past, but it truly is, we truly are right on the cusp. And that's a large part of why I do what I do, to open space up for humanity to explore. I hope to be one of those people someday, but in the meantime, it's really cool to watch the joy that it brings to these people who've, you know, are just the tip of the spear, so to speak, to go to space. So I wish them all the best. Hopefully they aren't too sick getting used to the zero-G, and I'm sure we'll be hearing more about their mission as we move on. So with that, I will sign off, and hopefully I'll be seeing you at some point for the Starships maiden flight. I'm looking forward to that one. So yeah, Joey signing off. Catch y'all later.